Yes, boss, we are talking the sweet science, and again, not complaining because it beats working for a living, but we had Invicta, we had Bellator, we had 2 UFC shows, we had NXT TakeOver, we had WWE Survivor Series, and in the middle of all that, a terrific prize fight, something that boxing needs more of. Earlier this summer, we at Showtime on CBS actually brought you that thrilling fight in the welterweight division between 2 of the best in Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. Thurman now, after that win, preparing for Danny Garcia in March as Showtime, beginning actually December 10th, has a run of some incredible fight cards coming up, something boxing desperately needs. But this past Saturday in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena, the light heavyweight championship fight between the then undefeated Sergey Kovalev and the undefeated Andre Ward went down. And I got to tell you, first of all, it's nice to see when a fight actually lives up to its billing. But as usual, and it's not just boxing, we see it in MMA all the time. We talked about it earlier, a little controversy, I guess, with the scoring. But what a fight, man. Andre Ward, who was is, next to Joe Calzaghe, I would say, the best 168-pound prize fighter in boxing history, moving up to light heavyweight to challenge unified champion Sergey Crusher Kovalev. Boss, last week on the debut of this show, you talk about Kovalev's power with his jab, and you saw what happened early in the fight against Ward, because for just the second time in his career, Kovalev knocked Ward down in the second round, and that was, off to the races. But we saw what happened, and I want to get your thoughts on the fight, but I'll just finish up my thoughts quickly. Kovalev's the bigger guy. He was not intimidated at all by Ward, didn't expect him to be. But Andre Ward, one of the most cerebral and really technical fights. The guy's he's a chess master when it comes to the game of human chess, and just really pound for pound one of the best boxers there is. He was my broadcast partner when I called the Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao international feed, and I learned so much just sitting next to him, and he's a great role model. He's a man of strong faith, a family man, and a guy who was Olympic gold medalist, the last Olympic gold medalist for the United States on the men's side. We're going to talk about the women soon, but Andre Ward overcame the second round knockdown, and I thought in the first half of the fight, Kovalev seemed to assert himself well, roughing him up a bit in the clinch, not allowing Ward to get in the inside, boss, where he needed to be because of the disparity in reach. And let's face it, you have to get close to Kovalev or he's going to knock you out. And so it ended up being 114, 113 on all 3 of the judges' scorecards in favor of Ward, and a lot of people were surprised. I was surprised.
Me too.
I had Kovalev because of the knockdown and because of just the way the fight unfolded.
Yep.
Although Ward did so many things right, I just thought Kovalev did enough to win maybe 114, 113, and so I didn't have any problem with the scores, and I don't have a problem with the decision because I like to see a rematch, and I know boxing, MMA, there's always all kinds of rematches, some that don't have to happen, like, for instance, Ryan Bader, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira, who we just talked about, but I want to see a rematch between these two. Now, as someone who is, got the mind that you do when it comes to striking, what did you think about this fight? Give us your take of what happened through 12 entertaining rounds in Vegas on Saturday night.
Okay, now, the first 4 rounds, although round number 4 was a very close one, still I would have given to Kovalev. In first round, he dropped him, like you said. And, of course, for a fighter, that's always, it's always hard because then you start finding more tentative because you know now that he has the power to do that. So that's why it took Ward a little bit to get into his game. But, he did everything right, Kovalev. Stayed outside the reach of Ward. Ward didn't move to the sides as much, which I expected he would do faster. He would go straight backwards and then he would move to the side. Also, no head movement after he countered. And I thought that's why he got caught with a bunch of times with shots from Ward. And then Ward also, I believe it was in the 4th or the 3rd round that he was shooting for a takedown. Did you see that? Like literally with the hands grabbing behind the knees.
But that's the thing. A lot of grappling, which usually I don't like seeing in a prize fight. I mean, it's boxing after all, but the way this played out, that actually added to the intrigue and the drama because it was strategic throughout the fight.
Yeah, but I mean, going lower yourself and grabbing behind the knees of your opponent and then trying to push him over, that's really pushing it. That's called a double leg takedown in mixed martial arts. So,
Yeah.
well, so the first 4 rounds, I said, okay, Kovalev. Number 5, Ward loses this one as well, but he's doing better. It's super close. Kovalev just keeps him on the outside the whole time, and Ward just goes straight back. Like I said, that he shouldn't have done that, because once he goes straight back, he still get tagged a few times with straight punches. Not hard punches, but they still count. Number 6, also Kovalev, I thought. 7, that's where Ward started connecting with great jabs, hard ones, clinch, nice body shots in the clinch, and he definitely had that round. 8, Ward is doing much better now. I think he had that round as well. Round 9 and 10, they were trading back and forth, but I thought Kovalev did more and landed the harder shots. I was talking about the breakdown, the right-left straight. I mean, I love that, and that's what he did there. The right to the body, left straight to the head, and he started connecting with it. The 11th round, I would say very close, might go to Ward. And of course, the last round, I also thought that Ward won. So on my scorecard, it was actually like 8-4, but it could have even easy been have 7-5 as well. But still, that would have been 7 rounds for Kovalev. You heard it with the interview, Max Kellerman, when he interviewed him. He said, yeah, the people here, they know who I won, and everybody started cheering. Roy Jones Jr. even said that he thought that Kovalev won as well. So I think he shouldn't have said that all the judges are local, I'm the foreigner, the judges are against me. Yeah.
Well, but you know what, buddy?
It feels like that,
again,
right?
You can't prove it, but that's all. It happens so often, and really, and I agree with your analysis, and just thinking to myself now, because I was tired. I actually ran from the arena from NXT. My friend Harris and I, we hooked up with a friend who lives in Toronto, and we made it just in time for the main event and that fight. So I watched it with not as intently as I could have or should have, but I did notice, and early, we all did. I mean, that jab really hurt Ward in the first round, and then that right hook that dropped him in round 2. But it seemed to be that it was Kovalev's short right hand that seemed to give Ward problems in the early going. But then, like you said, midway through the fight, around round 5 or 6, it was Ward that began to outland Kovalev, because Kovalev didn't use the right hand as much. But what I really was impressed with, and why these two are two of the best, is in those championship rounds, 11 and 12. We saw what each of these two warriors was made of. Now, when you look at the scorecards, Boss, and you said you had it 7-5, maybe even 8-4 for Kovalev, which is wide. Sergey Kovalev did surge to an early lead, but then the judges gave him almost nothing in the last 6 rounds. John McKay and Glenn Trowbridge gave Andre Ward a 6-0 sweep in the second half of the fight, and then Burt Clemens favored Ward 5-1. None of the judges gave Kovalev round 10, which many in the media thought Kovalev won. And as you said, Kovalev said, it's the wrong decision. I don't want to say my opinion. The witnesses are here. They saw it. It's my job. It was a fight of my life. I'm disappointed in the judge's decision. He got maybe a few rounds. I agree with that. I kept control. I lost maybe 3 rounds the whole fight. Of course, I want a rematch. I will kick his ass. I want to show good boxing. I'm against it. Here it is, the USA. All the judges were from the USA. He is a boxer. It's a sport. Don't make it political. I won the fight. Now, of course, you talk to Andre Ward. Well, this is what he had to say. No, I wasn't surprised when I heard the decision. I don't know where you got that from. I know it was a close fight.
Did you see the
crowd?
look on his
You can
face?
hear they thought I won. Yeah, I've been a champ before. I knew it was going to be a tough fight. It was the first time in my career dropped. He did everything I expected him to do. He started to show up as I expected. But at the end of the day, I am a 2-weight division champion. And he says, of course, he will do a rematch. And then in terms of the actual fight, he said, he does what champions do. That is get off the canvas. He said that he's been in tough fights. He really wasn't hurt. He said it was more of a flash knockdown. And over the rounds, he felt that he broke Kovalev down. He says he got up that night, went on to take the fight to him. The urgency forced him to step on the gas more. He also credited his trainer, Virgil Hunter, who he said did a great job of telling him that he needed every single round. He felt that he needed every round, and he left no doubt. Now, Hunter, who was Ward's trainer, said Sergey had certain tendencies. He was aggressive, but he fought on his back foot. He did not want to fight on the inside and left himself open for clean punches, and that's what made the difference.
Yeah, that's it. But still, well, it's what you said. It ain't that bad because they can do a rematch, and that's going to be
it's going to be a highly anticipated rematch and a terrific fight, and that's, what, again, I always try to say, you look at some of these judges, and they're always the usual suspects that get it wrong, but buddy, you got three human beings seated at three different places around the ring. They only see so much of the ring. They're not allowed to use monitors, or at some they are, maybe in Vegas, well, for replay, but that's what I mean. With all the technology that is out there, let's put these judges in the best situation to do their job right, whether it's elevating them, whether it's maybe getting 5 judges, although that's maybe too much, but there has to be something done in MMA and boxing with technology. All other sports are using it. They don't have to hear the commentary. They don't have to see the replays. They can get it straight, but we need them to be on the same page because it happens way too much.
Yeah, I know, and it's a shame, and it's a shame for the fighters. You're trying to build a legacy. Once you have a record like 30-0 and 31-0, and then a decision like this happens later on in life, like 100 years from now, people are not going to say, they're going to see the loss. They're not going to say, but you remember that. Sometimes they will. But that's
no, and Bas, I know what you're saying, Bas, but I disagree, brother. And the reason I disagree is because of the sport that you made your name in, MMA. The loss, I know what you mean, and it's true. A lot of boxers try to protect the zero. I think Danny Garcia, a lot of people can accuse him of cherry picking, although he's going to face Keith Thurman in March in what is a tremendous fight. But I know what you're saying, but I don't agree because it doesn't matter that way in terms of the zero. But I know what you mean in terms of losses. Yes, if you lose, you should lose because you lost the fight. It shouldn't come down to 3 people seating at ringside. But what's the alternative? And I just think, unfortunately, this is one of the things that has eroded the boxing audience, and I know I say that, and being someone who makes my living as a boxing commentator, and frankly think that Showtime does it as good as anybody, and we do try to put together the best fights possible, but we've seen it in MMA, we've seen it in kickboxing. It's something endemic to combat sports. We talked to John McCarthy ad nauseum and others who put the rules together, who know the sport inside and out, and it's not just MMA, but like all of it. The 10-point must system doesn't necessarily work right. And I don't know if it goes back to the pride fighting rules, Bas, where you judge the entire fight, if it's all about damage first, which it should be. It's a fight after all. And I think Dan Henderson said it best, too, when, against Michael Bisping. I wish we could judge a fight by how we look afterwards, because that's a fight, brother.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's right. But and the thing is, as a fighter, it should push you to work simply harder. In Japan, we always had weird decisions. People, you knew that if it was very close to being a draw, it was going to be a draw, or your opponent was going to win. So that automatically pushes you harder in order to stop the fight. I'm proud of my record. I have only 3 decision victories, and the rest I stopped them because I knew that if it would go to a decision, well, it could lean more forward. It could lean more toward the opponent.